Yo, so let's get this started, man. Good news. Seems like Spence Ugas is almost set for the spring. What do you guys think of that fight? And could Ugas pull up another upset here? Could he pull off another upset here against Spence? Because I think he's very live myself. What do you think, D?
First of all, I actually don't dislike the fight. There's a lot of people angry. I get it. Look, my first option is Spence versus Crawford, right? But should we be shocked that they're going to go with the in-house option first before they have to go for all the marbles? Just like I wasn't shocked when it was Billy Joe first and then Caleb Plant for Canelo, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. They're going to unify. It's a unification, and it's going to get us one step closer to undisputed. So I don't know why anybody is complaining about it. Now, one complaint, if Spence is that dude, then Spence should win the fight. If Spence is not that dude, he will lose to Ugas. And the Ugas Crawford is still a great fight. And I think Ugas Crawford is more plausible to happen anyway, to be honest with you. I think it's more likely that Ugas gets in the ring with Crawford than the other way around with Spence. So I don't dislike the fight. I like the fight. I think Ugas, that really, I mean, he just had a fight with a southpaw, the legend Manny Pacquiao. Wasn't in his prime, but doesn't hurt to fight a southpaw before you fight another southpaw, and we know he's really good with that right hand against the southpaws. It's an interesting fight. We have a fight in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick yet, but I think it's a hell of a, it's a chess match, and it's not a foregone conclusion that Errol Spence wins that fight. It's not.
Yeah. What do you think, Maestro? Think Ugas is live here?
I think Ugas is very live. Most of Ugas's losses have been disputed losses. There are people who make the argument that he's actually an undefeated fighter, and if you actually look at his losses, you can make a strong case that he won all of those fights. I definitely think he beat Sean Porter. I had him winning that fight. I mean, for years, Ugas was the B-side. Arguably, he still is the B-side and will be the B-side against Errol Spence Jr., even though he's bringing in, obviously, the WBA super title, which he won from Manny in a fight that very few people are going into the fight, at least, picked him to win. Ugas is a very credible guy. His only loss at welterweight was to Sean Porter, the fight that, again, I think he won. This is the battle of my Caribbean brothers. You got Spence Jr., the Jamaican. You got Ugas, the Cuban. And you've got two guys fighting under the PBC umbrella for 3 of the 4 welterweight titles. I don't know about all of you, but I've been over the whole Spence Crawford thing for some time now. That fight is spoiled. It's past due. It's like that salad that you buy thinking you're going to eat a lot of salad that week, and then by the time Saturday or Sunday comes, it's like you open it up and it's starting to wilt and the smell is coming from there and it's, all slimy. I'm not really that into that fight right now. I haven't really been into that fight for a while because it's been about 3 years since I actually thought the fight was going to happen. And I think D-Style made a great point. If you want to see undisputed fight at 147, well, then you should probably be rooting for Yordenis Ugas, because Errol Spence Jr. has not made any moves to indicate that he actually wants to fight Crawford. Ugas would not be going into that fight with claims to being the A-side pay-per-view star, the guy that needs to command a 70-30 split. If Ugas wins those 2 titles from Spence, WBC, IBF, he'll go into that fight with Crawford as a 3-belt guy, probably demanding 50-50. So that's the route. I agree with D-Style to unification at 147. And most of all, I don't think it's a bad fight. It's a fight I'll pay pay-per-view for, guaranteed.
Yeah. What do you think, Sutter Kane, about the matchup?
I think it's a good matchup, man, and stuff. I think it's going to come down to something like a split decision. I don't think a lot of Spence fans are probably like, oh, he's going to wash him, but I don't think so, man. I think Ugas is on a roll right now. He's got a lot of confidence, and you know me, I'm always for a person that's on momentum. I think he's got a lot of momentum, man. And the whole point too, we still don't even know how Errol Spence even looks right now. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that's a real big thing. Like, this dude could look like shit middle round, start looking like crap, and we like, damn. So it did catch up to him. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, we don't know and everything. He looked great against Danny Garcia for coming straight into that fight. You feel what I'm saying? But going into this one, man, I don't know, man. That's a good layoff. Plus, he wasn't, you know, a full 100% for the Danny Garcia fight. I don't know, man. It's a really good fight. I got split decision going, man, for either fighter, man, and stuff. But I wouldn't be shocked if Ugas wins. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, this is an upset. I wouldn't think that at all, man. I would not think that. I think that this is a really good fight. And to Spence's defense, man, I do want to see the Crawford and Spence fight like ASAP. I've been wanting to see that fight, but he's kind of doing everything he said he was going to do. Like, the dude did say that he was going to go down this road and then hit up Crawford last, which kind of makes me kind of like, he shitted on Keith Thurman for a while for kind of doing the same thing, but now he's doing it and stuff. Nobody wants to really talk about that. He's doing the exact same thing. So, and if you notice too, even with the injuries now, like, he got injuries coming up. It's like, man, he's got the Keith Thurman curse now. So who knows, man? But I got a split decision. I don't think it's gonna be a whitewash. And just like Maestro said, I'll pay for this. This is definitely gonna be a good pay-per-view. No matter what the undercard is, I'll definitely pay for this main event. And if Ugas does upset the whole thing, him and Crawford is a really good fucking fight. That's a really good damn fight. I'm actually a little bit more excited about that fight than the Spence fight, to be honest with you. I'm because history's on the line for Cuba, and I just think he got the momentum, man. And from my knowledge, from what I heard, he beat Crawford in the amateurs like twice, like whitewashed him. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard a couple of times. Like, he whitewashed, like it was nothing. But I know amateurs and pros are two different worlds, but momentum is still momentum, no matter which category you're going into or which league you're going. Momentum is momentum. So I think if he pulls this off, Crawford's gonna have a fucking hard time with this guy. This is my take.
You know, call me crazy, but I think Ugas is going to win this fight.
I'm with you on that one. I'm leaning towards that too. I am too. I think he's going to win this fight. Yeah. I'm leaning towards that.
Spence hasn't looked spectacular. He hasn't looked horrible, but hasn't really looked spectacular in his last couple of fights. Obviously, he beat Mikey Garcia decisively, but it was a very, very uninspiring type performance. The Porter fight really surprised me. I did not expect that fight to be as tough for Spence as it was. And even the Danny Garcia fight, he clearly won the fight, but it was competitive as well. He hasn't really set the world on fire. And, the Porter fight was before the retina, obviously, and it was also before the car accident. And, the one big thing that stands out to me for Spence is he doesn't have the quickest feet in the world. And I thought that really showed up in the Porter fight. That's why Porter was giving him so many problems, because Porter has very quick feet, and Crawford has very quick feet. Ugas is very cagey and crafty. He's really good at timing. He knows how to nullify people's speed because he's so good with his timing. I actually think Ugas matches up much better against Crawford than Spence does, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I think it would be maybe in terms of the name value and just the hype behind the fight, because Spence and Crawford's been talked about for so long. Obviously, that's the fight that people would rather much more want to see. But I just think that in terms of just competitiveness and it would be a very intriguing fight. It would be a nip and tuck type of fight where I just think it would be much more competitive, Ugas versus Crawford, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Crawford style-wise, I think his foot speed and his versatility and just the way he can counterpunch and stuff, I think he'd give Spence a ton of problems. I think Ugas and Crawford would be a much more intriguing fight in terms of the matchup itself, style-wise. So, I would not hate an Ugas-Crawford fight. And I kind of like that Spence is going to fight Ugas, because the winner of this fight will have 3 belts. And then when the Crawford fight does come about, if it were to come about, it would be for all the marbles. So it couldn't play out any better, in my opinion. Nancy, we were talking about Ugas versus Spence being almost set for March. What do you think of the matchup, and who do you think is going to win? And welcome to the first
thank you.
roundtable.
Thank you so much. Thanks y'all for having me. Yeah, so interesting, right? Because I was thinking, I guess we're kind of settling and getting this fight, right? It's not necessarily the fight we've been wanting. But hopefully, you know, this happening will then tee us up for the fights that we really want out of this weight class. You know, I'm a Spence fan. I really always have been. Here's the deal. I think that there was a point in time when I could maybe confidently speak to both of them and to say, you know, I'm very confidently thinking, you know, Spence will win, or that Ugas is going to come into the ring. I don't know that right now, right? A lot has transpired, I think, for both opponents on this. So it's interesting, right? If you think back, if we were to be talking the same fight 2 years ago, I think we'd be a bit more confident. What do I mean by that? Is that I do think Spence will win, but how confident am I, right? Because we still, I mean, he came back, you know, and had that fight after his wreck, but I feel like we still don't really know the full impact of that accident with him. I think that Ugas has grown. You know, we've seen him develop as of late. So that's, I think, going to be in his favor. And I'll go out there and say, I don't think it'll be an easy win for Spence. That I don't know that that's going to be like a popular opinion, but I just don't think it's going to be as easy as perhaps I would have confidently said so a couple years back.
Yeah.
Just really quick. So
go ahead.
All you got to do is put yourself in the southpaw stance and cover your left eye. Okay. Now, I'm not saying he's blind on the eye. That's not what I'm saying. But he's got that. That's where he had the surgery. And if he gets hit there again, we just don't know what. Like if he injured it in sparring, how's it in a fight stress environment? Getting hit in this section, which is very possible. But in a fight, you have to question how much trouble is he going to have against Ugas when Ugas is stepping to his right, and that could be problematic for him in my opinion, right? And from the orthodox stance, when he shoots that right hand, Ugas has a nice loop to it. And I'm telling you right now, if that eye gets injured during the fight, he's not going to be able to really see. All you got to do, southpaw stance, cover your eye. There's no vision over here. I cannot see this, okay? It could be a problem for Spence. It really can.